Ladies and gentlemen, tennis fans across the globe, and everyone tuning in who appreciates the raw, unscripted drama that only elite sports can provide, welcome. We are standing on the precipice of one of the most unexpected, electrifying, and downright shocking storylines the tennis world has seen in recent memory. If you thought the grass court season was going to ease in quietly with the polite applause and the clinking of teacups, you were gravely mistaken. Right now, the entirety of London, from the historic halls of the Queen's Club to the bustling streets of Wimbledon Village, from the sports desks of major publications to the passionate global fan bases online, is completely and utterly stunned. The headline that has sent shockwaves through the sporting landscape is real, it is confirmed, and it is reshaping everything we thought we knew about the upcoming grass court swing. Alexandra Eala, the sensational Filipino trailblazer, the history maker, the very player who redefined what is possible for Southeast Asian tennis on the global stage, has officially entered the qualifying draw for the HSBC Championships. Yes, you heard that correctly. The qualifying draw. Not a main draw wildcard. Not a protected ranking entry. The grueling, high-stakes, uncompromising trenches of qualifying rounds. And this is precisely why London is absolutely reeling from this announcement today. To understand the magnitude of this shock, we have to look at the context of who Alexandra Eala is and what this tournament represents. The HSBC Championships, held at the hallowed grounds of the Queen's Club in London, is one of the most prestigious events on the tennis calendar. It is the ultimate proving ground, a tournament steeped in tradition, where the slick, immaculate grass courts have historically crowned the true aristocrats of the sport. Recently, this legendary venue expanded its legacy to include a powerhouse women's draw, immediately making it one of the most coveted titles of the summer. It is a tournament where the elite gather to fine-tune their arsenals before the ultimate test at SW19. You expect the top names to be safely nestled in the main draw, resting their legs, fulfilling their press obligations, and preparing methodically for the week ahead. But Alexandra Eala is taking a different path, a path that has ignited a firestorm of respect, curiosity, and sheer astonishment. We are talking about a player who, just a short time ago, was skyrocketing through the rankings. A player who shattered the glass ceiling for the Philippines by breaking into the world's top 30, who scored jaw-dropping victories against Grand Slam champions, and who captured the hearts of fans with her fearless, aggressive baseline game, and an iron will forge at the Rafa Nadal Academy. She is a household name, a Forbes 30 under 30 icon, a player who made history as the first Filipina to compete in the singles main draw at Wimbledon. She is, by every metric of talent and pedigree, a main draw superstar. And yet here she is, voluntarily stepping into the absolute lion's den, that is the qualifying tournament. In professional tennis, the qualifying rounds are famously ruthless. They are the unglamorous, fiercely contested battlegrounds where veterans fighting for their careers clash with hungry young prodigies looking for a breakthrough. There are no easy matches. The tension is palpable. The margins are razor thin, and the pressure can crack even the most seasoned competitors. For a player of Eala's stature and resume to find herself in this arena, whether due to the brutal mathematics of the WTA ranking system, a temporary dip in form, or a strategic decision to build match toughness, is a testament to an unbelievable level of humility and an insatiable hunger to compete. London is shocked because we rarely see this kind of raw, unapologetic grit from established stars. We live in an era where players often rely on past laurels, where wild cards are aggressively lobbied for to protect the big names from the indignity of having to qualify. But Alexandra Eala is sending a resounding message to the locker room, to her fans, and to the city of London itself. She is not above the grind. She is here to work. She is here to earn every single point, every single victory, and every single blade of grass she steps on. This is a story of a champion refusing to take the easy way out, and it has instantaneously transformed the HSBC Championship qualifying draw from a peripheral event into the absolute main attraction of the week. Tickets are suddenly the hottest commodity in town. The local Filipino diaspora is mobilizing in full force. The atmosphere around the outer courts is going to be electric, akin to a Grand Slam final, all for a qualifying match. This is the power of Alexandra Eala. She has taken a routine administrative entry list and turned it into the biggest talking point in world sports today. So, buckle up, because we are about to dive deep into exactly how we got here, what this means for Eala's career, the unique challenges of the London grass, and why this qualifying campaign might just be the most defining moment of her remarkable journey so far. Let us pull back the curtain and examine the stage upon which this incredible drama is about to unfold. The HSBC Championships in West London is not just a tennis tournament, it is an institution. For over a century, these pristine, manicured lawns have been the ultimate laboratory for grass court mastery. The grass here is renowned for being exceptionally fast, arguably even slicker than the courts at Wimbledon during the opening week. The bounces are notoriously low, the rallies are breathless, and the margin for error is practically non-existent. When a tournament possesses this level of historical gravity, the entry list is usually a parade of tennis royalty. You expect the defending champions and the Grand Slam winners to automatically populate the main draw. And this is exactly where the shock value of Alexandra Eala's situation originates. Eala is tennis royalty in her own right. She is the undisputed queen of Philippine tennis, a young woman who has carried the weight of a nation's sporting hopes on her shoulders since she was a teenager. To see her name relegated to the qualifying draw, a list usually reserved for journeymen, emerging youngsters, and players desperately trying to scrape together ranking points, is a jarring sight for the traditional tennis fan. It is a disruption of the expected narrative. But if we analyze the brutal, unforgiving nature of the WTA ranking system, we begin to uncover the layers of this story. Professional tennis is a sport without a safety net. Unlike team sports where a franchise can protect a star player through a slump or an injury, a tennis player's livelihood and status are entirely tethered to a rolling 52-week computer ranking. It is a merciless mathematical reality. You are constantly defending points you earned a year prior. If you suffer an ill-timed injury, if you hit a rough patch of form, or if you simply fall victim to a tough draw against a hot opponent, those points drop off and your ranking plummets. It does not matter if you were in the top 30 just a few months ago. It does not matter if you have wins over top 5 players on your resume. The computer has no memory, no empathy, and no respect for past achievements. Just a short time ago, we watched her command the hard courts with absolute authority. We remember the Miami Open, where she sent shockwaves of her own by systematically dismantling top-tier opponents, including a monumental victory over a top 5 player in Madison Keys. We remember her historic run to the semifinals, a moment that didn't just put her on the map, but firmly established her as a heavy hitter in the big leagues. She proved that she possesses not only the physical tools, the heavy, penetrating ground strokes, the uncanny court coverage, but the mental fortitude to stare down the titans of the game and emerge victorious. This is a player who has already tasted the rarefied air of the WTA elite. She has held her own on the grandest stages, under the brightest lights, with the eyes of the world dissecting her every move. Therefore, seeing a competitor with this pedigree, with this proven capacity for greatness, listed in the qualifying draw of a pre-Wimbledon warm-up event is, frankly, an anomaly that has sent statisticians and pundits scrambling for explanations. Now, in this scenario, a player of her profile has a few options. Option 1. Use your immense star power and representation to lobby the tournament directors for a main draw wildcard. Given her massive global following and her proven ability to sell tickets, tournament organizers would usually jump at the chance to hand her a free pass. Option 2. Skip the tournament entirely, retreat to practice courts, protect your pride, and wait for a lesser event where you can enter directly. Many players battle an ego that inevitably comes with top-tier success. Choose option 2. They view qualifying as a demotion, an insult to their standing in the game. But Alexandra Eala chose option 3. She laced up her shoes, picked up her rackets, and submitted her name for the qualifying draw. This decision speaks volumes about her character. It strips away the glamour, the endorsements, and the fame, revealing the raw, beating heart of a true competitor. She is essentially saying, I do not need a handout. I do not need special treatment. I will earn my place. It is a breathtaking display of humility, and it is precisely why the British public, a fan base that deeply respects hard work and sporting integrity, has reacted with such shock and overwhelming admiration. Let's talk about what it actually means to play in the qualifying rounds of a grass court tournament in London. The qualifying event is a tournament within a tournament. It is a completely different world from the main draw. When you are in the main draw, you are provided with courtesy cars, spacious locker rooms, prime practice times, and matches scheduled on show courts with Hawkeye technology and massive crowds. Qualifying, on the other hand, is the Wild West. It is often played at secondary venues, where the wind howls across the open spaces. The facilities are more modest, and the matches are stacked back-to-back on outside courts. The competition in qualifying is terrifyingly fierce. You are facing opponents who are fighting for their livelihoods. For many of these players, reaching the main draw means securing a paycheck that will fund their travel and coaching for the next 6 months. They play with a desperate, unyielding intensity. On grass, this intensity is amplified. A big serve, a couple lucky net chords, or a momentary lapse in concentration can cost you a set in the blink of an eye. You cannot play your way into a match on grass. You must be firing on all cylinders from the very first point. For Alexandra Eala, navigating this minefield requires a supreme mental shift. She is the hunted. Every player in that qualifying draw knows exactly who she is. They know her resume. For a player ranked lower down the ladder, stepping onto the grass against Alexandra Eala is their own personal Grand Slam final. It is their chance to make a headline, to take down a giant. Eala will have to absorb their very best punches while managing the immense internal pressure of knowing she is heavily favored to win. It is a psychological tightrope walk. She has to find a way to tap into the underdog mentality that fueled her initial rise, even though she is now the biggest name on the entry list. From a technical standpoint, this qualifying campaign is going to be a fascinating study of Eala's adaptation to the surface. Grass court tennis is a unique beast. It demands a specific skill set that contradicts much of what players learn on hard courts in clay. On clay, you have time. You can stand deep behind the baseline, construct points with heavy topspin, and slide into your defensive shots. On grass, time is a luxury you simply do not have. The ball skids through the surface, staying incredibly low. Alexandra Eala's game has historically been built on a foundation of aggressive, heavy ground strokes. She possesses a phenomenal left-handed forehand that can dictate play from any quadrant of the court. But to survive the brutal, fast-paced exchanges in the HSBC Championship qualifying rounds, she must make subtle, critical adjustments. She has to shorten her backswings to deal with the lack of reaction time. She has to bend her knees deeper than ever before to get under the low-skidding slice backhands that British and European specialists will inevitably throw at her. Furthermore, grass rewards the brave. It rewards players who are willing to take the ball on the rise, who are proactive in stepping inside the baseline, and who are comfortable finishing points at the net. Eala has shown flashes of brilliance in her transition game, but this week in London will test her willingness to move forward under extreme pressure. Her serve, which has developed into a formidable weapon, will need to be impeccably accurate. On grass, a well-placed serve out wide is often more valuable than pure power, pulling the opponent off the court and opening up the vast expanse of the green lawn for a put-away. We also cannot underestimate the unpredictable elements of a London summer. Rain delays are a guarantee. Matches can be stopped and started multiple times in a single afternoon. The grass can be slick and treacherous in the morning and baked dry by the late afternoon. This requires an extraordinary level of mental elasticity. A player might dominate the first set, endure a 3-hour rain delay in a cramped locker room, and return to face completely different playing conditions. Eala's mental fortitude, her ability to stay locked in and focused amidst the chaos, will be just as important as her forehand down the line. Beyond the tactics, beyond the rankings, and beyond the history of the Queen's Club, there is an undeniable cultural phenomenon attached to this story. We must acknowledge the sheer magnitude of the Filipino spirit. It is a force of nature. In the world of sports, from the boxing arenas in Las Vegas to the basketball courts of Manila, the Filipino fan base is globally recognized for its unparalleled passion and loyalty. When Alexandra Eala plays, she is not just an individual athlete. She is a flying flag. She is an ambassador. The diaspora in the United Kingdom, which is a massive and vibrant community, has consistently turned out in droves whenever she touches down on British soil. During her Wimbledon main draw debut, the grounds were transformed. The atmosphere was infused with an electric, familial joy. Now, transpose that energy to the intimate, closely packed confines of the qualifying courts. The noise will be deafening. The support will be a relentless wall of sound. Every winner she hits will be met with a roar that will echo across the complex, and every difficult moment will be met with chants of encouragement designed to lift her up. For the local London tennis community, this is a massive injection of excitement. The qualifying rounds are usually attended by die-hard tennis purists, the folks with their notepads and thermos flasks. But Eala's entry has changed the demographic entirely. It has brought a rock concert energy to the preliminary rounds. It has forced the casual sports fan to pay attention to an aspect of the tournament they usually ignore. The shock that rippled through the city when the entry list was published was quickly replaced by a scramble for tickets. People want to witness history. They want to say they were there, standing shoulder to shoulder by an outside court, watching a world-class talent battle her way back to the top, one grueling point at a time. Let us zoom out for a moment and consider what Alexandra Eala's decision means for the broader landscape of women's professional tennis. We are currently in an era of intense transition and fierce competition on the WTA Tour. The depth of talent is unprecedented. The gap between the world number 10 and the world number 100 is thinner than a piece of grip tape. In this hyper-competitive environment, complacency is the enemy of success. By accepting the challenge of qualifying, Eala is setting a profound example for the next generation of players. She is demonstrating that true champions are not defined by the VIP treatment they receive, but by their willingness to get their hands dirty when the chips are down. This move could very well be the catalyst for the next great chapter of her career. Sometimes, a player needs to be stripped of their privileges to rediscover their hunger. Playing in the shadows, fighting for survival in the qualifying draw, can ignite a primal, competitive fire that simply cannot be manufactured in a comfortable practice session. If Eala can navigate these treacherous early rounds, if she can battle through grueling matches against desperate opponents and emerge victorious, she will walk into main draw of the HSBC Championships as the most battle-tested, dangerous floater in the tournament. No seeded player, no matter how highly ranked, will want to see the name Alexandra Eala placed next to theirs in the first round. She will have acclimatized the courts, she will have the rhythm of the grass dialed in, and she will have the supreme confidence of a player who has earned every single breath of her main draw status. As we look ahead to the coming days, the atmosphere in London is only going to intensify. The initial shock has settled, and it has been replaced by a fever pitch of excitement and anticipation. The HSBC Championship qualifying draw is no longer just a preliminary hurdle. It has become the focal point of the global tennis conversation. All eyes, from the bustling streets of Manila to the historic avenues of London, will be locked onto those outer courts, waiting to see how this extraordinary chapter unfolds. Alexandra Eala has already given us so many unforgettable moments in her young career. She has given us junior Grand Slam titles. She has given us historic breakthroughs. And she has given us the thrill of watching a generational talent rise from the Philippines to the upper echelons of the sport. But this moment right here, this willingness to step into the grueling, unglamorous trenches of the qualifying rounds, to reject the easy path, and to fight for a rightful place with grit and absolute determination, might just be her most defining moment yet. It speaks to a maturity and a resilience that you simply cannot teach. It is a testament to the core values of hard work, humility, and an unquenchable thirst for competition. For those of you who will be attending the qualifiers, you are in for an absolute treat. You're going to witness a world-class athlete bringing a Grand Slam-level intensity to an environment that rarely sees such star power. You are going to hear the roar of a deeply passionate fan base turning an English summer afternoon into a vibrant celebration of culture and sport. And for those of you watching from around the world, following every point on your screens, you are witnessing the ultimate underdog story, played out by a player who has absolutely no business being an underdog. This is why we love sports. We love the unpredictability. We love the drama. We love watching elite athletes push to their limits, forced to dig deep and prove their worth all over again. Alexandra Eala's entry into the HSBC Championship qualifiers is a stark reminder that in professional tennis, nothing is guaranteed, nothing is given, and absolutely everything must be earned. She is putting it all on the line, risking an early exit for the chance to rebuild, to reestablish her dominance, and to send a message to the rest of the tour that she is a force of nature that cannot be denied. Will she dominate the qualifying field and storm into the main draw with unbreakable momentum? Or will the unique pressures of the grass courts and the desperation of her opponents prove to be an insurmountable challenge? That is the beauty of this sport. We do not know the answer, but what we do know, without a shadow of a doubt, is that Alexandra Eala is going to leave every ounce of her energy, every drop of her sweat, and every bit of her heart out there on those London lawns. So, to everyone watching, strap yourselves in. We are on the verge of a spectacular week of tennis. I want to know what you think about this incredible tour of events. Do you believe this gritty, grassroots approach is exactly what Eala needs to propel herself back to the top? Drop your thoughts, your predictions, and your messages of support in the comments below. Make sure you stay glued to the coverage, because history is happening on the outer courts of London this week, and you will not want to miss a single breathless second of it. Until next time, keep your eyes on the ball, embrace the unexpected, and enjoy the beautiful, chaotic, and relentlessly thrilling game of tennis.